The world has many important problems that we need to solve, and we can only do this by working together. My advice to you would be to find something that you're passionate about and pursue it with absolutely everything you've got. I'm always interested in learning new things, but my overarching goal is that I would like to contribute in a meaningful way to climate and energy problems.
What do you have in mind? Where you're striving for? And I think that is important when you. I'm not making materials for materials only. I'm making materials with a goal.
I think especially with things like the energy transition, with climate, which affects everybody and is becoming a more immediate problem, I think there are societal and global problems that need to be solved very, very quickly.
My natural attitude is, let's explore it.
Yeah.
And that is, I also feel that we should sometimes also dare to go out the normal boundaries. Yeah. And you can only go out of the normal boundaries when you leave the manuals aside. I want to make materials which could help benefit society, to make our society more sustainable. When we talk about a star, a moon, Milky Way, it's far away. Yeah. It's very strange. And then people are always surprised. But why we cannot be surprised about our materials, the materials we make? Materials which in daily life really determines what we do. Yeah. I mean, we have batteries. We still are struggling with our batteries. They're not perfect at all. Planes. No. About a car. Plastic is a big topic now. I mean, several of these things we will have to rethink, reshape. Can only be done by material scientists, by people who care, design, and want to bring the world further.
We've started the transition, and I think the challenge that we need to do is make it happen faster and bigger and for a very long period of time. We need to find other ways of removing CO2 from the atmosphere, turning it into something that doesn't directly go back in.
And that's where your research really plays an important part.
For that, we will need to really start from scratch how we want to build them up from the bottom. Yeah. That requires tools to look. How are they made? How are they functioning? How do they last? How do they change? Yeah. Materials are dynamic. Yeah. Can we control these dynamics? Can we give them additional functionality? But now we will have to redesign these materials. We really have to think, how can we do things more energy efficient? Yeah. How can we make materials which can last much longer? How can we make them so that we can have them tearing apart in a controlled fashion and remake them from their building blocks?
We need physicists, chemists, engineers to work on the science and technology. So materials play a big role. But then the catalyst has to go into a reactor, and the influence of the reactor can change the performance of your catalyst. And if they've gone through this process with a different technology, with a different fossil fuel input to make some products, can we use the same approach and look at the systems and look at a different feedstock? So look at, instead of putting in fossil fuels, we put in air, water, nitrogen, CO2, and make the same products out of it in the same way. Yeah. So in that sense, I think partnering with industry is, again, not just important, but it's vital to making this process solved at a large scale and as quickly as possible.
After my master's, I felt like I wasn't done learning yet, and then for me the next logical step seemed to do a PhD. I wanted to broaden my horizon and learn new things, and I'm especially interested in the topic heterogeneous catalysis because I feel like it's a topic that has a big impact on society. And in Bert Weckhuysen's group, I'm working on waste valorization. So, for example, the greenhouse gas CO2. We try to use this gas and convert it into valuable products. And we're trying to use our microscopic and spectroscopic tools to find out a way how to make these catalysts as efficient as possible.
Catalysts are used in almost any chemical process to favor a certain reaction. However, there are usually side reactions that make the catalyst less selective and also may cause deactivation. But what if we could switch off a certain reaction pathway and instead accelerate another? To do this, we need to pinpoint the active site of the catalyst, and so that we can fine-tune them to finally tweak their performance. But to do so, we need very well-defined nanostructures. There is a need, therefore, for a synthesis method of well-defined nanomaterials with tunable size and composition.
When we're doing experiments, it's essential for us to study catalysts that are very well defined and have uniformly sized nanoparticles. Making such materials is very challenging and often involves complicated chemical synthesis methods that produce unwanted chemical waste. So by using the nanoparticle generator and the size selector, we can now actually just press a button and make these materials without producing any chemical waste.